How are you, right? Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This may be the last meeting that I hold at Speaker's Corner, if they blow up the world. But it may not be. Probably not. So, I know you were a fan of Donald Trump. You still are. But wasn't he the man who said we don't want any more war, no more permanent wars? Wasn't he the man who said this? Wasn't he the man who was supposed to end the war in Ukraine in a day? Didn't he even try a little bit to try and make some deal with Israel, Hamas? But then suddenly it disappeared. And now you see what's happening in Iran, that the Americans asked by Israel to go and bomb Iran under the spurious claim that Iran is developing nuclear weapons material, which his own representative only a few weeks back said was nonsense, which everybody who's bothered to study the question knows is nonsense. The whole history of nuclear development in Iran proves this is nonsense, and yet Donald Trump fires off massive bombs on Iran and declares Iran must submit to the West immediately, must submit to America and Israel immediately. When Iran is supposed to be the deadly threat to mankind, and yet Israel is the ones since October 2023 slaughtering the people of Palestine with impunity in ways that resemble maybe the Warsaw Ghetto or the worst phases of Auschwitz and Buchenwald. And so you can hardly claim that Donald Trump is representing the people of America. It's quite clear, it seems to me quite clear anyway, that you know when this spat broke out between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Yeah? First they were blood brothers. Nothing could go wrong as far as Elon Musk was concerned and Donald Trump was concerned. It looked like Elon Musk was at the centre of power. But one thing notable, Elon Musk was, when October the 7th happened, remember he was invited to Israel to visit the kibbutzim. He went along with all the stories about the beheaded babies and the babies in ovens and the babies cut out of the womb and chopped up. He went along with all those stories. And now we have Donald Trump and Elon Musk having a spat. Only last week, wasn't it? Only last week or the week before, the Donald Trump Elon Musk spat. And you might remember that Elon Musk suddenly posted a post of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein looking at the girls at a party, oogling them. Now this had been used for many years by people who suspected that Donald Trump was involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein, as people have rightly summarized or assumed, was an agent of Mossad, an agent of the Israelis. And the game that Jeffrey Epstein has been playing, or was playing, with Giselle Maxwell, was to nurture a layer of the ruling elite in politics and business who could be drawn in to a paedophile network who met on his island, so that they had permanent records of dirt that they could drag up whenever they wanted to threaten the career prospects and future livelihoods and freedom of these individuals. And therefore Epstein is part of a network of Mossad inspired conspiracies to control the political apparatuses and politicians around the world. And I've got good reasons for suspecting that the recent scandal, or better said, the recent non-scandal to do with Keir Starmer and the Ukrainian rent boys is somehow interlinked with this. It's just my suspicion, but I have a suspicious mind. I'm sure some of you do as well. You know, when Ukrainian rent boys, 3 of them, suddenly appear and set fire to your house and your car, you might wonder, why are they doing it? You know, I've not seen this type of behavior before from Ukrainian rent boys. Not that I know any. But those rent boys from Ukraine that I know certainly displayed no evidence of setting fire to any buildings I've ever been in or any cars I've ever driven. And yet, Keir Starmer suddenly attracts this type of attention. Now, Donald Trump, why would he abandon his important political base amongst the MAGA community in order to side with Israel when a lot of people in America in the MAGA base are slightly skeptical about Mossad and Israel? And they think that they were all, you know, many of them have got conspiracy theories in their mind. They might think that, for example, September the 11th was an inside job, or they might think that Israel or Mossad carried out September the 11th. Rightly or wrongly, they might think that. But there's a pattern behind the support base of Donald Trump, which Donald Trump drew upon, which was to claim that globally there's an elite that are trying to manipulate American politics, Western politics, British politics, European politics to pursue an agenda promoted by the World Economic Forum, the globalist network, which generally could be associated with this Israel Mossad lobby. Now, I'm not saying they're behind it, but I suspect that I said a few weeks ago, you know, that these Russian dolls.
What do you even suspect? I mean, there's actually no evidence. These are words that come out of your mouth.
You might ask yourself, why would somebody like Donald Trump, who spent the last years cultivating support as anti-globalist, anti-war, in defense of the working classes, America first, why would he immediately change sides in this, or appear to change sides in this?
The schoolyard bully, that's what Trump is. He's got all the weapons and all the power in the world, and they're not thinking at all. America's...
I think you're drawing a bit of his, you know, the term schoolyard bully was used years ago by Noam Chomsky to refer to American imperialism in general. It wasn't specific to Donald Trump. And Donald Trump carved himself out his position of authority amongst the working classes and the middle classes, who he appealed to, in order to claim that he was going to end the wars, create a nation that stands up for itself, restore industry and manufacturing.
What he did last night is exactly the opposite today.
Well, exactly the point. Now, how does he turn around from one day to the next? Clearly not in his interest. Why would he suddenly turn around from one day to the next and change not only his official position in relation to the long-term history, but also what he has said in the last few days? Only a few days ago he said, I will give them 2 weeks, Iran must surrender. Yes, sir.
In response to what you're saying, I don't want to be on film, please. In response to what you're saying, just very...
Too late. You're live streamed to Donald Trump. No, it's live streamed, sorry.
So, I think at the moment, we'll see where things go. And of course, with wars...
We might not. Next week we might all be dead.
Oh, wait a second, sir. No, it won't. So the difference at the moment...
No, we won't.
Blowing up, and let's not get into politics and whether it's right or wrong.
Nah.
Well, I mean, that's because it's a completely different thing. But
Yeah.
in their view at the moment, if you're going to let some nation that's been saying death to America...
Oh, yeah.
But hold on a moment, sir.
They have been doing that.
Oh my God. Oh my God, they said death to America. Well, blow them all up then. That's half a Speaker's Corner gone.
Okay, I'm not going to waste my time.
Oh, come on, don't run away. This is question time, my friend, at Speaker's Corner. I'm giving you more airtime than Piers Morgan.
I've been coming here for decades to listen to you, right?
Well, there you go.
No, and you're one of the finest speakers.
Thank you, and we disagree on many occasions.
And we agree on many occasions.
But I have to say, remember many.
But I have to say to you,
Yeah,
I am really disappointed with your support of Donald Trump.
Support of what?
Of what I perceive to be support of Donald Trump. Even
When
giving,
have I said
even giving him
When
any,
have I said any
even giving
word
any sort of
in support
excuse at all.
When have I ever said any word in 40 years at Speaker's Corner? When have I ever said any word in support of Donald Trump?
Well,
I challenge you.
Well, it's only
Look on YouTube.
It's
Do an AI search. You will find no such thing.
Also, he's a Trotskyist. How are you support Donald Trump?
You will find no such thing.
So you do not agree with what Donald Trump did last night in bombing.
My friend, have you had a heat stroke? It's cooled down now.
It is cool.
There's no need for this.
Yes, I'm asking you now.
Right, move to the back.
No, I'm asking you
Back
now.
of the class.
I'm asking you now.
Back of the class.
Right.
Start again.
Yeah. So, but you see,
What I was saying,
my
was,
view
what I
is,
was asking was, why is it that Donald Trump, from the no war man, at least that was his claim, and the develop America, look after America first claim, suddenly ends up dropping bombs on Iran?
because the man is totally out of control.
Well, is it because Donald Trump is out of control? Or is it because Israel is out of control and Israel has control over Donald Trump? Is that the question? Because it appears to me that all the evidence is pointing to Israel controlling Donald Trump, which is why I said Elon Musk's so-called posts, we all think, on the one side they say, just one sec, on the one side they say Elon Musk is the cleverest guy in the world. Such a genius. He sends a rocket up, he lands a rocket down. He takes over X, he buys X, very clever. He controls, he made Tesla cars. He's a genius. Even if it's ketamine inspired, it's still genius. Now, then last week or 2 weeks ago, as I mentioned earlier, he posted on X a video of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein oogling the girls and saying there's more to come out. In other words, he was directly accusing Donald Trump of being a paedophile linked to Jeffrey Epstein, and that there is evidence for it. Now, Jeffrey Epstein is a Mossad agent, or was a Mossad agent.
Oh dear, this is silly.
So the Israeli Mossad,
Here we go.
in conjunction with Netanyahu and co, have been systematically collecting material on government ministers, corporate leaders, and so on and so forth, all around the world over decades, in order to have something on them at the right moment. And I put it to you that the likelihood is that it is that something they have on Donald Trump that led Donald Trump to change position and bomb Iran. That's how pathetic the world is. And if you think that's madness, I remember standing here like deja vu. When was it? 1999 or something like that?
Probably.
And it was like, I never had sex with that woman. Remember, it was Bill Clinton, Monica Lewinsky.
Before.
I did not have sex with that woman.
1992,
And the next day, they sent missiles into war. Missiles were fired. I don't remember the country now. One of the Middle Eastern countries that they fire missiles at every couple of days. Most of the amazing thing is that the Israelis have been able to manipulate not only the Western leaders, all of whom proclaim that they're such great defenders of freedom and democracy, and yet when the Palestinians are slaughtered on live television, day in, day out, since October the 7th, all the governments of Europe say they support Israel. Once they're massacring the people, the British government at last 2 weeks ago suddenly said, oh, what they're doing is not quite right. They shouldn't be killing all the children. They shouldn't blow all the children's heads off. They shouldn't kill, they gave them food. Yeah? They said, come get some food, come and get, imagine that. You turn around to a baby, you say, come and get some food, blow their head off. You blow the head off a baby begging for food. What sort of barbarians do this? And to be fair, the Germans, when they killed people in Auschwitz, it was all hidden. This is not hidden. And still these idiots stand up and defend them. Still they lie to your face. Still they tell this bullshit. The truth is, what they are doing, this is what people they misunderstand. What these people do to the Palestinians, what happens to the most wretched of the earth, what happens to the poorest of the earth, what happens to the most oppressed of the earth, is our future. If you imagine what they're doing there is not experiments for what they'll do on us, you're living in cuckoo land. A few years ago, don't forget how they cheated us here. In the name, don't forget, I say they, the rulers of the world. When I say the rulers of the world, you ask us at different times, it's a different layer. One day it's the technology companies, like Palantir. Palantir, they said, oh, we don't want big data spying on the people. That's what Donald Trump said. That's what Elon Musk said. We don't want big data spying on the people like they did during COVID. We don't want a totalitarian state like they claim China is. Like they claim China is. And yet,
trying to get lots of cameras.
Last week, they gave all the data about all people inside the United States of America to the #1 executor of artificial intelligence dominated warfare in the world, Palantir, whose base is in London. The central base for this operation is on 20 Soho Square. 20 Soho Square. Peter Thiel, the leader of this organization, he called them Palantir. It was set up by the CIA, financed by the CIA. Palantir comes from Lord of the Rings. It's a stone you look into in Lord of the Rings to know the future of the world, to know the fate of the world. They call the company Palantir because they want to spy on everyone on Earth so they can annihilate anyone on Earth at will. And that's what they've been doing. Remember in Lebanon, last year, people had mobile phones or pagers in their pocket. Pagers, in other words, you buy an electronic device. All of you have got such devices in your pocket. And Israel, in its beneficence, in its brilliance, in its marvelous genius, decides that all the people who have these pagers must have their legs blown off. And so 2,500 people had their legs blown off or were killed by Israel within a few minutes.
Very careful of this. And there's a very fine line between talking about Israel and talking about Jews.
No, I didn't mention Jews.
No, I'm
mentioning
Jews.
Did I say Jews? The problem is the fine line is this. The fine line is created by Israel to confuse people. It's created.
And it's going there again.
The fine line is created by Israel. The biggest enemy of the Jewish people is the Israeli state and the Israeli government. They are the biggest enemy of the Jewish people. They have succeeded where Adolf Hitler did not.
Oh, you see.
Where Iran could not possibly do. Where Saudi Arabia and Bin Laden could never do. They have succeeded in turning the world against Israel. And many people mistaken. 1 minute. Don't try and trick me this. 1 minute. Many people. Yes, it's true. No, don't do that.
Don't you ever accuse me of that. Don't you ever say that again to me.
Stop it.
Don't you ever say that again to me.
Enough.
No.
Tempers.
You make sure you stop that nonsense.
He's not my man. He's himself. He's an ex-soldier.
This is the kind of, we can all speak here.
We can. But there's no need for this.
Talk to the police.
Stop it. Both of you. Stop it. Behave yourself. agents of Netanyahu. Causing disruption on behalf of Israel.
Mossad strikes again, am I right?
Now, how do the Israeli state, that is, how do they promote this idea that anti-Semitism and anti-Israel is one and the same thing? Because first they say, oh, anybody questions Israel, they're questioning the Holocaust. And then they say, Israel, the Jewish state. The Jewish state. By defining Israel as a Jewish state, it's an ethno-nationalist identity. And the other people, the Arabs and Palestinians, do not have the same rights as the Jews. Because of that, as many people correctly say, Israel is an apartheid state. And it is a colonizer state. And the people in Israel, Jews, Palestinians, Arabs, have the right, Christians have the right to rise up against the Israeli state and overthrow it. Not only do they have the right, they have the duty to do that. And if the British government says, oh, just last week, a couple of, you saw the video, a couple of guys went with an electric bike, they got a Lime bike. They went to Bryce Norton Air Force Base. They shot up to the aeroplane and they sprayed some colour on it.
And that's terrorism.
And then Keir Starmer says, and Yvette Cooper says, now we need to ban anyone who has a sign on their T-shirt that says Palestine Action. They are now terrorists.
I agree.
Terrorists.
They're shocking.
You agree?
No, but can I say, am I allowed to make my point or
No,
not?
you're not.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
No,
You must wait 5 minutes because of your naughty behaviour.
No.
But in 5 minutes' time you can.
No, listen.
Okay, 5 minutes. Get your watch started. At 1 minute past 4 you may. Now, how well behaved they are. This is English schooling, you know. I'm sure like me, they gave you a whack if you didn't behave.
And we don't,
One of the teachers used to put on the blackboard, he used to write like this. He used to rub it out with a blackboard
and
wiper.
of course,
and then he could turn around like this at a moment notice, and he could throw a blackboard wiper at your head and hit you on the head.
I've been coming here for decades and no one's ever threatened me with the police.
Apologise, Adam. Adam, apologise. Adam, apologise.
If it helps, if it makes you feel better, will it make you feel better if I apologise then? What a joke.
He's apologised. Thank you very much. Game over.
Solution done! Let's go!
Where are we? Under his breath.
The thing is, Starmer can be brutal, but it's not going to work. He'll just be more provocative.
Well, Starmer's doing what he can do. What else can Starmer do?
Now they're best of buddies, are they?
What else can Starmer do?
Now you're best of... Keir Starmer now. He is using British aeroplanes to defend Israel. He's using British aeroplanes to help target Palestinians. They are directly involved with blood on their hands, connected directly to the Israeli state, serving the Israeli state, and sometimes they don't even hide it, you know.
Very important point. Michael Mansfield at the moment is looking into Jews living in the UK that regularly go and fight for the IDF and come back just as they want. What they should do is try and get the passports. Everyone with a dual nationality, an Israeli and British passport, they should be under terrorist investigation.
All the Israelis coming in on aeroplanes, they should be checked if they're serving in the IDF or serving for Mossad, because many of them here, who they have on television, they got a whole army of them, by the way, they put on television, anti-Semitism this, anti-Semitism that, Jewish representation this, Jewish representation that. Paid, majority of them, paid agents of Israel. And they're the people they put on television. So, oh look, this person is an Arab who supports Israel. This person used to be in the IDF and has seen the real face of Hamas. The truth of the matter is, when they actually, there was a piece I saw, even anyone you see on Sky News, the doctor's report, 2 British doctors in Palestine, in Gaza, the last couple of days, it was horrific, the injuries to the kids, and then these morons turn around and tell you that the reason that we must support Israel is because Hamas killed babies, Hamas rape people. I saw the images. As many of you, anyone who looks and wants to keep their eyes open to look knows that on October the 7th, there were a pile of vehicles welded together, fired at by helicopter gunships. In other words, by Israel. And many of them had people captured by Hamas and on the road back to Gaza, who were blown up by the Israelis. Because the Israelis have the Hannibal Directive, which states that you cannot allow Israelis to be captured by any opposing forces, because otherwise we'll have to exchange prisoners and captives that we've got for them. And when they did exchange 10 Israelis captured by Hamas, how many Palestinians were released? Hundreds of them, because there are thousands of Palestinians in prison in Israel, captured, many of them without charge, without trial, many of them women, many of them children, many of them brutalized. And when the Israeli captives are released by Hamas, how many times did you see that the Israeli captives, when they come out, the Hamas fighter is there with their mask on and their face hidden, only their eyes there. They've got guns. They hug them. They fist bump them. They thank them. They thank their captors. Clearly they've been treated okay by those captors. And yet when Israel released those, they've been kept in prison. Some of you have been raped. Some of you have been tortured by the Israelis. When they released them, their emaciated bodies look like they come out of a concentration camp in Nazi Germany. These are simple facts about what's happening in Israel and Gaza. And now they want to drag us all into war on their behalf, on behalf of Israel. Well, they can stuff it.
You know what I say?
Fuck Israel. Fuck Israel. Down with Israel. Israel needs to be defeated. And there are two ways to do this. One is armed rebellion by the people, the Palestinian people, and the Arab masses surrounding Palestine. Second is rebellion by the Jews inside Israel against their tyrannical government controlling them and manipulating them. Yes, it's a minority now, but it's a significant minority in Israel fighting against their own government. If they link together with the Palestinian resistance movement.
You stirred them all up really well. You've done a really good job. Let's go and attack the Jews.
You've got 5 minutes.
Let's no, I don't want.
I want to attack the Jews. You're moralising the actual position.
When did I attack the Jews?
You're moralising the position.
No, you
never said the Jews. You said Zionism.
May I say? Okay, I'm allowed to speak for just 1 minute. Okay,
yes.
2 minutes even. Okay,
it's 1 minute past.
First of all, I am not an apologist for Israel at all. I never have been. And as it happens, I am not Jewish. I have spent some time in Israel. I've spent some time in the West Bank as well. So I do know something about the situation. What you're saying about Israel, of course, is unforgivable, what they're doing in Gaza. But my fear is this, and this is a real fear. Okay. And I've seen this happen now increasingly across this very precious place we call Speaker's Corner. This is a very, very important venue for all of us, Speaker's Corner. And I've been coming here for decades. But I mean, in other words, it sets the tone for what happens in the country. It's a representative of what happens in this country, listening to people around here. Now then, my problem is anti-Semitism. And I've seen it grow. And I've been watching it grow now, and I've mentioned this to you before.
Is it more important than what's happening in Gaza?
Is it more important than babies being killed? Places being
Easy. You said 1 minute.
May I say, right?
You said 1 minute.
There's a growth of anti-Semitism. You've got these people all ready to, all charged up, ready to go, ready to attack. But I have to say to you, you have to be very, very careful of this word anti-Semitism. Europe have been here before. It exists across the world. It's growing. Opinion polls showing it's growing across Europe as Europe moves more and more to the right wing.
Is it any wonder?
But I mean,
is it any wonder?
Is anyone? I'm just saying.
The only way to overcome that.
No. The cause of anti-Semitism is us. The cause of anti-Semitism.
The reason is because Israel tries to conflate Israel with the Jews.
Exactly.
They say Israel, the Jewish state.
Exactly.
And then
There is
sometimes, I know a friend of mine.
Fine
One
line.
minute.
No, well, it's my minute.
I know, but it's gone.
my minute.
Look at your watch.
No,
it's
it's not.
gone.
No.
It's gone. You said 1 minute.
There is a very fine
Time's up.
line. With very fine
The biggest
line.
cause of anti-Semitism
There's
is pretending Zionism and Jewishness are the same. That's
So,
the biggest.
I'll tell
Damn right.
I'll tell
Damn
you
right.
what, this little corner of the world they call Israel, this little tiny corner of the Middle East called Israel, that is responsible for all the world's problems. That's we've been repeated right down.
It's doing
through
a damn
here.
good job to look like that.
And I'll tell you what,
Yeah, I
it's
wonder
so it's now talking. So Israel is surrounded by enemies. We have to agree with that, don't we?
Yeah, but what about his allies?
If you
No,
bomb
it's
Gaza,
powerful,
it's all about
how
enemies.
powerful are its allies?
And by the way,
Hang on.
never ever use the word Jews when you can say Israel. We talk about Israel, but that's legitimate. Let's talk about Israel.
you're the one doing it. I talk about Israel. I don't talk about Jews.
I
Let
don't.
him do it.
I know. I know. Listen.
You said you want to make a couple of comments. You've made them. I think we know what they are.
Well, I
you
mean,
said
well, I'll tell you-
don't promote anti-Semitism.
Issue everyone with a
There's
weapon.
a
then
fine
we'll
line
all
between
go and
anti-Semitism
attack
and talking about Israel
Yeah, but
and the
somehow-
Jews.
somehow-
And what else you say?
I've got to-
Anything else?
Well, I've got to go.
Anything else?
I've got to go and get a cup of tea, and then I'll
Got
come
to
back.
get me a cup of tea.
All right, I'll do that.
Thank you very much.
You take sugar by the fair. Look.
I'll take a tiny bit. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your work, honestly. It's brilliant hearing you talk.
We'll come back. You can come back, of course. You are always. I mean, the argument about the anti-Semitism and Speaker's Corner is quite interesting, because if you come down here, if you go on these demos, there's a gang of Israeli agents, one IDF tank commander who leads a gang of lunatics, all screaming and shouting, trying to antagonize the protesters. The protesters generally walk past and do nothing. I don't think they should, but anyway, they do. And then at Speaker's Corner, you come here, you see the Palestinian flag, you see a couple of Palestinian flags, you see lots of Muslims, you see lots of Jews. There's a guy there who defends every single action of Israel. This guy right here, every single action of Israel, day in, day out, right since October the 7th and before. Has he been beaten up? Has he been attacked? Has there been a huge fight here around this? No, there has not. However, there is a good friend of Israel, or a good friend of Netanyahu's gang, Mossad and Co. And his name is Tommy! And his aim is to utilize the anger amongst the poorest people, white people in Britain, against the Muslims in Britain, using rape gangs, which he specifies only the Pakistani rape gangs, in order to whip up hatred in British society, based on the idea that the country's been invaded by Muslims and that Muslim rape gangs are raping our daughters. And that argument, which he says is a free speech argument, and he defended the rights of the children when nobody else did, that argument has allowed him to carve himself out a little niche with which to whip up hatred between the people. He's come here twice at Speaker's Corner. I stood up against him on both occasions. When I stood up last time here, when he was here, they arrested me before they arrested him. What the fuck? And they attacked us just on the other side over here when he read out Martin Selner's speech. That was in 2018 or 19. And he is now claiming to be the greatest defender of free speech. And he is planning to do a major free speech event. But ask yourself this, where exactly is free speech being repressed at Speaker's Corner? Where the Muslims and the Christians and the Jews and the Marxists and all the other views are standing up here. We are not repressing free speech at Speaker's Corner. But some people would definitely like to repress free speech at Speaker's Corner. And it's the establishment, it's the rulers of Britain, and it's Tommy Robinson and his allies. And some of the lunatics on the anarchist fringe have also tried to destroy free speech at Speaker's Corner around the issue of let women speak. They attack people. But we defended the right of people to speak who disagreed with our point of view or with different points of view at Speaker's Corner. We defend the right of anybody to come up here and speak, as long as they're not using thuggery and violence to crush the other people speaking. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I've been speaking for a while. Thanks very much. See you next week.
It's always a pleasure hearing you. Brilliant. I just wanted to ask you one thing. I don't mean to. So when you were saying that Israel is the master of Donald Trump, I would disagree, because I think the capitalist system upholds both Israel and Donald Trump is working in tandem.
Yeah, but at the same time, the Israel lobby pushed Donald Trump to do the bombing, and he wouldn't have done that bombing without that. If the Israel lobby wasn't so strong in the United States,
it benefits him anyway.
No, it doesn't. He will lose a lot of support in the United States.
He doesn't care about support. He cares about capitalist foreign interest and the money. This is how neoliberalism
I don't
works.
think it's going to be
and neoconservatism.
We'll see. I don't think it's going to be beneficial.
Israel first.
And I think there's specific pressure
World economy
in order to get him to do
comes
this.
second.
Maybe.
It's Israel first. That's what it is for Trump. Israel
That's right.
first.
Yeah.
America before peace.
Well, that's the point.
And before the world economy.
That's the point.
Amazing, isn't it?
That's right.
Absolutely
Yeah,
amazing.
tomorrow there'll be a big crash in the world economy, directly caused by this. And if and they can't. The fact of the matter is, neither Israel nor America can win against Iran.
Well,
they can't
two
win.
days ago, the Israelis bombed
They
a gas
attacked-
field near the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, exactly.
And today, the Iranians have said that they're going
Cut
to
the
close it.
shipping
They're
off,
going to
that's
close
right.
it.
And they attacked the Houthis. America declared war on the Houthis for 6 weeks. They lost, gave up.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to be able to defeat the Iranians. How are you going to defeat the Iranians? You've got to land in Iran and invade. It's a country of 90 million people. How can you possibly win? You cannot win. But the Israelis have dragged them into it, and now it looks like it cleanses Israel. Because only a few weeks ago, suddenly they're all saying Israel's being out of order. Now they're all saying Israel is the defender of freedom in the